Here's an intriguing headline from the Crypto Basic. Early Bitcoin adopter predicts XRP price could do something crazy this year, potentially hitting $24.00. Sounds wild, right? We've all seen plenty of predictions like this before. There's no shortage of analysts who nailed XRP's breakout this market cycle. And guess what? Nearly all of them believe XRP will hit double digits soon. So why does this headline stand out? Because the prediction is coming from someone who's clearly battling a bad case of what I like to call XRP Derangement Syndrome. Yep, he predicts XRP could skyrocket to $24.00 this cycle, an almost 12x increase from its current price of a little over $2.00. But wait for it, he's telling his massive audience not to buy it. Seriously, make that make sense. Imagine having a platform of, let's say, around 800,000 people. I'll double check in a bit, but it's close enough. And using it to discourage folks from a potential 12x gain, wealth that could change lives. But nope, apparently that makes sense in the realm of XRP haters. Now, before I dive deeper, let me be clear. I don't have a financial background. I'm not giving financial advice, and you should absolutely not buy or sell based on what I say. Got it? Cool. With that said, buckle up. This is going to be a fun ride as I dissect the absurdity of these XRP skeptics who have no idea what they're talking about. Their nonsense is worth a laugh, and trust me, we're about to have some fun debunking it. Take a look at this headline from Cointelegraph. Now, let's be real. Cointelegraph has been taking shots at XRP for what feels like a decade. Sure, they've had a few positive stories sprinkled in, but for the most part, they're like the self-proclaimed guardians of anti-XRP sentiment. It's almost as if their brand identity revolves around tearing XRP down. Seriously, what does it take to land a job at Cointelegraph? Is XRP Derangement Syndrome a required qualification? Do applicants list toxic Bitcoin maximalist under skills on their resumes? Picture it. Bitcoin is destined to hit $11 million, 0 cents. It'll shoot past the moon and into a new galaxy. Meanwhile, XRP, despite all its utility, is totally going to zero because it's a scam coin or a banker coin. Do they type this nonsense with their clumsy little fingers and think, yeah? Honestly, it's laughable. And sure, CoinDesk might take the crown for being the worst, but Cointelegraph is a close runner-up in this comedy of errors. Now back to the headline in question, XRP, why it's outperforming altcoins and what comes next. On the surface, it sounds promising, right? A rare acknowledgement that XRP isn't just doing well, it's crushing the competition. And frankly, they can't ignore it anymore. XRP is the top performing large cap crypto worldwide right now. It just is. But here's the kicker. Instead of diving into the why, the article barely scratches the surface. They toss in a few reasons like breadcrumbs and then link to a video. What caught my eye, though, is that my fellow XRP YouTuber, CryptoEdy, had been discussing this exact video. It's about 10 minutes long, and honestly, it seems like Cointelegraph would rather point to someone else's content than actually do the heavy lifting. Typical. But hey, at least they're finally recognizing XRP's dominance. Grudgingly, of course. I haven't watched the video yet, but something so hilarious happened that I just had to share it here. It absolutely cracked me up. This is comedy gold. Picture this, a bunch of C students writing over at Cointelegraph. So CryptoEdy chimed in with a gem. She wrote, "Hello Cointelegraph," and tagged them. "Is today's video your idea of a non-biased deep dive educational piece on XRP? Please allow me to introduce you to some real experts who could help bring your coverage up to an acceptable level." Oof, the shade. In a separate post, she even said the video was basically a hit piece. For that reason alone, I'm probably going to watch it. But before I do, I just had to point this out. There's a screen grab shared by CryptoEdy, and it's right here. It correctly lists the names of the three creators of XRP and the XRP ledger: Jed McCaleb, Arthur Brito, and David Schwartz. So far, so good, right? But here's the kicker. One of the people pictured as Arthur Brito, here's the wild part. There are zero, literally zero photos of Arthur Brito on the internet. None, zilch, nada, which is honestly impressive. People have been trying to find a picture of this guy for ages and nothing. It's like he's a ghost. But hey, we're assured he exists somewhere. So trusted members of the community confirmed they've met the guy, shared meals with him and all that. Cool, I'm not questioning his existence, but let's be clear, that's not him. Absolutely not. Enter XRP community member Panos, a developer and co-founder of Anodos Finance, who's actively building on the XRP ledger. He chimed in saying he was stunned for a moment when he saw a supposed photo of Arthur Brito, but after a little digging, he discovered the truth. The man in the image is actually Michael Del Castillo. Yep. Michael Del Castillo, not Arthur Brito. For context, Del Castillo is no random guy. He's a former senior editor at Forbes and now a senior writer at Fortune, two powerhouse publications. Yet somehow the C team got it all wrong, plastering his face everywhere and labeling him as Brito because reasons? And here's the kicker. This mistake dates back to December 12th, 2019. Someone, no clue who, bungled it back then. The style of the post kind of looks like something from the Working Money channel, but I could be wrong. So don't quote me on that. Either way, this error has been in circulation for years, over half a decade. Cointelegraph just revived it like it was brand new. Honestly, that's a next level mistake. How did they even pull that off? Honestly, I'm not even mad. I feel like Ron Burgundy and Anchorman staring at Baxter after he devoured an entire wheel of cheese. It's just impressive. Seriously, folks, this is wild. Now, here's the scoop. An early Bitcoin adopter is predicting something crazy for XRP this year. He's saying it could potentially hit $24.00. And who's making this bold claim? None other than Vinci Jeremy. Yeah, the guy with 826,800 followers on X. He's been in the crypto game forever, buying Bitcoin back when it was just $1.00. Props to him for that. But here's the thing. His reasoning on this one, let's just say it's questionable. So Da Vinci's out here saying XRP could see a 12x increase, turning into life-changing wealth. But wait. He also claims you shouldn't aim for that kind of gain. Why? Oh, just wait until you hear his reasons. It's a roller coaster, folks. In a video shared with his 826,000 plus followers on X, Jeremy made waves by suggesting that XRP could potentially hit a $24.00 price point. Pause for a moment. This isn't the first time he's made such a bold claim. Sometimes he says it's a near certainty, practically shouting his confidence from the rooftops. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but you get the idea. Other times it's more of a cautious maybe. Either way, his predictions are catching plenty of attention. Jeremy's high price predictions for XRP are wild, higher than what even some of the most bullish XRP supporters think. That's saying something. Let's not forget, back in January, after years of swearing XRP was doomed to hit zero, Jeremy did a stunning 180. He switched gears, adopting a bullish stance and predicting that XRP could rally between $20.00 and $24.00 by the end of the cycle. And this was back when XRP was riding high at $3.34, a 7-year peak at the time. The irony? For years, Jeremy insisted XRP was on its way to oblivion, declaring it dead money. Then, as XRP started gaining traction, contrary to his doom-filled warnings, he suddenly flipped. Imagine misleading your massive audience for years only to reverse course and claim the coin could soar to $24.00. Seriously? After all that talk of zero? It's baffling behavior. It's a roller coaster saga with Jeremy at the center, and he keeps popping up in the crypto world making headlines for all the wrong reasons. You can't help but wonder, how does someone go from it's worthless to it's mooning without blinking an eye? It's a wild ride, to say the least. Jeremy recently shared why he believes XRP still has a shot at hitting $24.00 this year. His reasoning? He claimed there are plenty of people in the US government backing XRP, but let's be real, that's just not true. Now, as someone who's heavily invested in XRP, and yes, I'm biased because I hold a lot, I wouldn't mind if it were true. It'd be fantastic for my portfolio, even if it's not exactly ethical for government officials to play favorites. But let's set the record straight. This narrative Jeremy's pushing dates back to March, and it's clearly not panning out. Remember that whole idea of a national digital asset stockpile? Well, we might see something happen with XRP eventually, but here's the closest we've gotten so far. Ripple recently had its $125 million 0 cents fine reduced to $50 million 0 cents pending approval. And here's where it gets interesting. Rad Garlinghouse has now publicly confirmed that Ripple is in talks with the SEC to pay that fine in XRP. Yes, you heard that right, XRP. If that goes through, the government could potentially end up holding XRP as part of a national digital asset reserve. But let's be realistic, the government isn't out here buying XRP. The Trump administration made it crystal clear, no XRP purchases. While some folks seemed pro XRP, it's not about being anti XRP either. It's just complicated. Back in the day, there was this pro-America vibe in the crypto world, but then something shifted. What happened behind closed doors, we'll probably never know for sure. One thing is clear, though, Trump seemed to ditch the idea of a broader crypto strategy and leaned into a Bitcoin maxi approach instead. eyeing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. That decision changed the game, especially when it comes to how the government views other cryptocurrencies like XRP. The notion that the government would suddenly go all in on pushing XRP, honestly, that's absurd. Anyone analyzing this objectively would see how nonsensical it is. Sure, the idea might have held some weight 6 weeks ago. It even seemed plausible at the time. But now, with hindsight, it's clear that theory doesn't hold water. A critical thinker would let it go by now. Even if the government were to keep some XRP, say, from cracking down on bad actors, that doesn't mean it's going to send XRP's price skyrocketing. Believing that is like ignoring everything else, its actual utility, the years of artificial price suppression, and the natural market recovery from it all. Nope, none of that matters. It's just the government's supposed blessing that will make XRP soar. How does anyone's brain work like that? It's baffling. And yet, here we are. Pace continued. Without giving much context, the sentiment seems tied to recent events. Just last month, US President Donald Trump made waves on social media, declaring that the government would hold XRP as part of a national crypto reserve. Yes. That's what I'm referring to. What's more intriguing is that Trump spotlighted XRP as a potential reserve asset before even mentioning Bitcoin or Ethereum, which only came up in later announcements. This move has sparked debates, with many suggesting it signals XRP is being pushed at the highest levels of government. And again, folks, that was just 6 weeks ago. But here's the twist. Why is someone telling over 800,000 followers not to buy XRP, even though it's surging? Why? Because they claim XRP is a banker's coin. Yet, they conveniently overlook the fact that Bitcoin, yes, their darling Bitcoin, is the ultimate banker's coin, fully embraced by legacy finance on a global scale. Oh no, we're not supposed to talk about that, right? But sure, XRP is the banker's coin. Let's be real, calling XRP a banker's coin is just lazy. XRP is a decentralized cryptocurrency native to the XRP ledger. It's simply a tool, a blockchain-based asset, and people can use it however they want, just like they can with Bitcoin. There is no central authority calling the shots here. So if someone wants to use Bitcoin or XRP for pro-bank activities, they can. On the flip side, if others prefer self-custody and direct payments, Bitcoin or XRP can handle that too. It's all about choice. But honestly, the argument some people make against this is just mind-boggling. I mean, how many people with a clear, unbiased perspective actually believe these claims? Imagine coming in with an open mind, hearing these wild assertions and thinking, yeah, that makes sense. It doesn't. It really doesn't. The truth is, Bitcoin doesn't offer anything that XRP can't also deliver. XRP can do everything Bitcoin does, but here's the kicker. Bitcoin can't match all the utility XRP brings to the table. XRP accomplishes what Satoshi Nakamoto originally envisioned for Bitcoin, a true peer-to-peer cash system. So let's be real. XRP doesn't just match Bitcoin's functionality, it surpasses it in ways Bitcoin just can't compete. Bitcoin simply can't handle it. Transactions are too pricey and painfully slow. So what's the point being made here? And then you're telling people to pass up the opportunity of a potential 12x gain? Seriously? That kind of return could be life-changing. Invest enough and boom, life-altering money if this guy's prediction holds true. What's his deal? I can't fathom how someone's brain works like this. This is the same guy who spent years spreading nonsense about XRP, claiming Ripple could freeze it, an outright lie. It's mind-blowing. These people are insufferable, truly insufferable. And let's talk about who he's been teaming up with. Guys like Carl Moon. Carl has 1.4 million followers and has been around the crypto block for years. Good for him. He made his millions and bought a Bugatti, multi-million-dollar car, living the dream. But let's be real, he's a toxic Bitcoin maximalist who misled his audience. He swore XRP was doomed, that it would crash to zero. Don't buy it, he said. Then the moment XRP started climbing, what did Carl do? First, he doubled down. On March 30th, he tweeted his strategic reserve 100% Bitcoin, 0% for things like XRP. Zero. This is peak toxic maximalism, folks. It's what happens when someone has XRP derangement syndrome, applesauce for brains, and they broadcast this nonsense to 1.4 million people. So that's how it goes, all about Bitcoin, right? But here's the kicker. The day before, guess what he said about XRP? Let me show you. Just one day earlier, 15 top made in USA coins to buy in 2025. Yep, there's a list, and guess what's sitting pretty at number one? XRP. That's right. Number one. And somehow he doesn't see the irony. First, it's doomed to hit zero, a complete disaster. Then, when that didn't age well, it's suddenly a smart buy for 2025. Egg on his face, sure, but now it's great to buy. Just not for governments, though, right? So let me get this straight. If it's good for individuals, why wouldn't it also make sense for larger entities like governments? Isn't the whole point of investing to reduce risk by diversifying? Betting it all on one horse, Bitcoin in this case, is a gamble. If it flops, you're out of luck. That's just basic logic. Honestly, what's wrong with this thinking? It's absurd, completely absurd. Can someone explain? Make it make sense. Seriously, make it make sense. XRP to the moon, sure, but hey, don't buy it. Definitely don't use it as a reserve. All right, so here's the story. Arthur Brito slaps a guy. Yep, you heard that right. This dude running for Forbes at the time, mind you, just slaps someone and then has the audacity to strut around like, yeah, I'm Arthur Brito. Honestly, the sheer level of insufferable energy here is off the charts, completely unbearable. But hey, that's why I love having this channel. I get to tear into this kind of nonsense, and let me tell you, it's so satisfying. Somebody has to call out the absurdity of these people. They manage to say the dumbest stuff imaginable, and I just can't let it slide. I feel like it's my duty to point it out. Obligated, really. Oh, and by the way, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't base any buying or selling decisions on what I say here. That would be an incredibly bad idea.